hairstyle in the photo to
Later you'll see.
to real life.
Later you'll see. He has braids.
I think he like rocked those last year.
Dreads?
Or last season, yeah. Something like that. I don't know. I can't wait to see them walk in here. But, of course, again, for Smart Omega, I think a lot is left to be figured out, especially because that's the thing that we kind of wait and anticipate for week one. I think for a lot of the fans out there is to really see what they've been cooking up between the seasons.
So probably a lot of eyes as well on Chaknu and how he will be leading these two side lanes, which, as you mentioned, are actually playmakers for their team. And if we follow that train of thought, it's like a lot of them could actually be playmakers, and you wouldn't want to see it as chaotic as that. So I'm hoping to see some order to it as well, because once Smart Omega gets a hold of that kind of momentum in which they actually just follow a particular strategy or procedure or approach against their opponents, similar to like today for Falcons AV Brand, they just seem really unstoppable once they get activated.
Yeah, Coach Lembot and Coach Snap have been busy after the holidays and even through the first few months of 2025. So definitely excited to see how they've shaped up Riku, Ukir, and Andoryu, the other player we did not mention, because, with the injection of Lewis, you have to consider how these other players feel about that too.
Oh, yeah. And Andoryu's been actually on a pretty good record for last season.
His stats were off the charts in Season 14.
And which is it's unfortunate because I feel like Andoryu ran under the radar a little bit. I mean, yeah, his stats, when you actually break down the stats and everything from Season 14, it's like, yeah, it was there, but also at the same time, the way that they come together as a whole as a team, I just felt fell short a little bit. So I'm hoping, again, we've seen teams do this before where there's like drastic improvement, like from season to season, especially the teams that necessarily might not have flown out or gone international to go and compete. They've had plenty of time to go ahead and work on that chemistry and bring things together, and that's really what we're hoping to see from the Barangay here. And of course, for Falcons, we just have to see if they've improved from the previous game, right? But before that, before the matchup, we're going to be throwing it over to the All Access segment here to hear more from our hosts and Smart Omega.
Maraming salamat sa ating mga casters. Nandito tayo sa isa sa mga player rooms this time ng Smart Omega, who's gonna be making their debut game para sa araw na ito and for Season 15 in general. Also with me is none other than their ex-laner, Luis. Luis, congratulations, andito ka. Grabe siya, very softy daw. Softy sabi. Kamusta naman? Ano bang mga ganap sa'yo lately?
Okay naman po.
Ayun. Oh, tama naman. Oh, good to know na okay ka lang. I also wanna know kasi for this season, ano bang naging bago kay Luis? Kasi nakita na namin 2 seasons ago. I wanna know kung ano bang pinagkaiba ni Luis ngayon compared to the past seasons na nakita na namin dito.
Mas todo po yung grind ko ngayon kaysa po nung nakaraan.
Okay, you talked about grind, right? Gusto kong malaman, paano ka ba na-discover ng Smart Omega? Paano ka ba napunta dito in general?
Nag-rank games lang po ako noon hanggang sa discover po ako ni boss.
Sino ba yung boss?
Si Boss
okay,
Chakno.
sige, lapit tayo. Sino ba yung boss? Ayan ayan yung boss Ayan yung boss Naku po, senyorito, pasa mo nga, Boss Chak. Boss Chak, gusto ko malaman.
Kasama sa usapan ta.
Gusto ko malaman, nung nakalaro mo ba siya the first time, ano bang sabi mo? Bakit pinapunta mo na siya dun sa bootcamp?
Hindi, umahanap kami ng batang tulonggis dati.
Tapos pasok, qualified?
Oo.
Qualified? Kaya pala. Sige po, salamat. Salamat. Di yun, nakita ka na. And then all of a sudden, the rest was history. Diba? Ang makakaharap mo ngayon, walang iba kundi si Flap TZ. Isa na sa mga, baka kasi magalit sa akin pag sinabi kong veterans. Flap, sorry. Pero yun na yun Diba? So, isa siya sa mga nakilala na dito sa eksena. May mensahe ka ba para kay Flap? Kasi ngayon, hindi ko alam kung aabutan ba natin. Pero ayun na. Ayan na, nakikita mo na. Andun na si Flap. Andyan na si... Oy! Ay! Anong papatalo ka ba? Pakita mo. Asa yung jawline? Ay! Ang dami na kaya. Grabe. Ang dami na kayari. Pero hindi, Flap. Papalag to very soon. Okay, hinay-hinay ka lang dyan. Ano message mo kay Flap, pare?
Good luck po sa ating dalawa. Galingan lang po natin.
May po pa ngayon, Luis, ha? May po pa ngayon. Maghintay ka. Kalusi, ano bang balita dyan?
Naku Hans, hindi naman magpapatalo. Ang kasama ko dito sa kampo ng Team Falcon, si Flap TC. Flap, anong masasabi mo sa message ni Luis sa'yo?
Galingan mo kasi mas gagalingan ko.
Yun! Okay, kahapon lumaban kayo. Okay, post muna siya. Ayan, kahapon lumaban kayo kontra TLPH. Ano masashare mo sa amin kung ano nangyari sa laban nyo kahapon kontra TLPH?
Parang, kagaya nung dati, tuwing first series, lagi kaming natatalo, di namin talaga maayos. Pero bumabawi naman kami kinabukasan or the second game.
Bounce back lang talaga every time. tulad yan. Okay. Bilang isa sa mga veterano sa liga, ano namang mapapayo mo sa mga makakalaban mo?
Mapapayo ko sa mga makakalaban namin, galingan lang natin palagi para hindi sayang yung pagpunta ng mga audience.
Ayan, tama. Okay, good luck sa paparating yung laban, Flap. And mukhang handang-handa na ang ating Green Falcons at ating mga kabarangay. Kaya casters, back to you.
there it is.
Go.
Hey, I heard he's been bulking up, by the way.
Oh yeah, no, I see it every day. His stories.
Yeah.
For sure, he's got a great routine.
He does. You want to get in on that, Brigida? You want to get to the gym again? You remember those days?
I will. I was inspired.
You're almost there.
Thank you.
You're almost there. But when we break that down, again, it's interesting because you mentioned this when they were interviewing, and you guys get to help us with this question, by the way, because what sport was Lewis on the varsity team and when he was still a student? Because maybe he could beat Flap in one of these, you know, the endurance test, maybe. I don't know if that's too much of a hint.
All right. Flap is gaining a lot of muscle, but for sure, Lewis can beat him in cardio, stamina, right? So which of these sports demand that much? I'll give you all that. So is it A, basketball, you know, running up and down the court, B, volleyball, it's a smaller place to run, ice hockey. Who plays ice hockey in the Philippines?
Is that another giveaway?
Or D, track and field.
Trick question. Come on, guys. You could have put something better for C. A little more believable.
They can do a 1v1
They can do a 1v1.
for whatever that is. So
Do we, by the way, do we give them the answer?
we don't.
Like, I've noticed this while
don't-
watching.
We leave them hanging.
We leave them hanging. I was going to say, because I was even voting yesterday at home, and I was like, where's the answer? So
You find out later.
you guys will find out later.
It's in your heart.
It's in your heart, heart of the cards at this point. I was also, by the way, the same sport that he was varsity in. I was also varsity in, but I did something different. It wasn't an endurance test; it was a strength test.
So our viewers have something to research about Naisu again.
Again.
Oh no, they actually, yeah,
We found the music video.
they found it. Darn it.
Yeah.
I actually searched it immediately when you mentioned it too, because there were too much hints.
Yeah, there's too many hints.
You
Well,
should like
You gave like
leave some for
too many. Yeah, like Jessica Sanchez, come on.
jump in.
Okay. Well, you know what? I'll tell you this. Good luck with the poll and voting, and I can't wait to see them battle in the land of Dawn, not on the field that we're talking about here. But just in short amount of time, everybody will be walking out and getting ready because we're about to start the matchup. First one to round out week 1. So sit tight, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to bring out the marshals first, and then the teams. Let's welcome them on stage.
To oversee and uphold the tournament's integrity, guiding us through this match are our marshals, Juvin, Kiko, Patrick, and JJ. Making their way to the stage for their first match in Season 15, marching into a new era, Barangay Smart Omega! In the EXP lane, the pride of Cebu, it's Luis. In the jungle, ang bangungot, Andoryu. In mid, it's Ukir. In the roam, the Chak Mamba, Chaknu. And in gold, Big J. Zoom. And their opponents on the hunt, soaring through the skies, finding their first prey, landing into the arena, Team Falcons! In the EXP, it's the Filipino cannon, Flap TZ! In the jungle, Kyle TZ! In mid, ang idol ng mga kids, View! And in Rome, Master Ugwin! And in gold, Bulletproof Super Marco! And their coaches, Coach Lembot and Coach Trevor.
Okay. Let's go ahead and look at the lineup here for Smart Omega. Brig, take us through it.
You know, their signature or their identity is known to be full of surprises, full of setups here and there, and hard crowd control. So now we'd be expecting that similar kind of approach up against one of the most renowned teams in the Philippines. They have to take this first game that they'll ever play in the stage by storm.
Yeah, I'm excited about this, man. You know, because, again, I want to see what they have in store for us for S15.
It's the alpha of Omega right now. I'll tell you now, they changed one, right?
Yeah.
Ryota sat out, spending time in the MDL. It's Lewis. I feel like it's another kind. It's a new blend of the barangay we're going to see.
Right.
And it's been I feel like every season it's been little iterations of a new barangay. So hopefully it works, because up against them, again, our Team Falcons, the Green Falcons here. Leo, take us through.
Still one of the best pure athletes I've seen in the long run of MPL Philippines. 7 years. 7 years worth. One of these players have been around for 7 years, and that's few. I'm looking at him. Kids who used to look up to him are now legit two-time world champions. I'm talking about Carl Tizzy. So yesterday, Carl Tizzy gave him something. I hope that Few uses that as fuel today to give something back to Omega.
Right. And Flap TZ himself mentioned that they tend to just immediately bounce back after such losses. So we'll see if that's true today, together with all those confident poses and facial expressions he's been doing.
That's a morale boost. You know, that's what you do, and when you wake up in the morning and you look at yourself in the mirror.
You do that face?
Yeah.
His pose does not have a cooldown.
It doesn't.
And you have to finish the
You can
animation.
spam it.
Finish the animation.
Yeah, I mean, he spams it in real life, too, and that works. But that's the thing. I mean, for Team Falcon specifically, I would love to see the adjustments they made from yesterday, because even when I was watching, I was like, you know, obviously they had some mistakes that they had made in that game. So hopefully that has come together. But before that, they can correct all their mistakes by having the ping test here, and that's what we got to take a look at right now.
Mic check. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Malakas ba, boss, ko sa'yo, Kir?
Diba isa?
Ha? Narinig mo ako? Oh. Implosion from K-Boy!
Eugene Jackping, parang malaki LTC lang magsulo. Ayokong kunin yan! Gusto ko ng crab sa gold lane, sa akin. Kasi nung profile picture ko, malas eh.
We had the implosion from Keyboy. He's
What
got.
was Keyboy suddenly?
I don't know. I just think it's such an iconic line, you know.
Right.
I feel better knowing that it's not just us who pull out falsettos in mic checks.
Oh.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
Luis might be sitting on this desk someday.
He might be. You never know. You know that could definitely be an opportunity in the future for him, and maybe he's going to be on English, right? But right now he's going to focus on this game ahead of them. And again, this ping test for everyone tuning in is just for the players, of course, for the integrity of the game and making sure everything's set up. Also, leading into the game, we got to take a look at Infinite's keys to victory. Brigida, take us through.
So for Smart Omega, clearly one of the most iconic heroes that Luis has ever used in his career was the Arlon. But it's not just limited to that. They need to be able to set the tempo even without it, even amidst the new XP laners that are on the rise. Because actually, this is for Falcons, right? Or no, that's for Smart Omega. Because for Falcons, they need to be the ones breaking the tempo that Smart Omega will be setting. Because again, we've previously mentioned they're known to be a team who relies heavily on crowd control. I think even being second in terms of overall average crowd control time in the previous season of MPL, and even despite the changes again in their lineup, that very minimal changes, I don't think that there will be much of a significant change in their approach. And for both, focusing on the XP laners, they of course have to give us the explosive performance.
Again, this is a reintroduction to Lewis. We've seen him in prior seasons,
Yep.
but for a lot of fans just tuning in to season 15, who is this young man from Cebu?
Right.
Who is this former? I almost
varsity player or varsity player, but you almost gave it away.
Who is this young athlete playing for Smart Omega now? Play explosively, and for the Filipino canon, that's when he does best. That's when he won the season 12 MVP. That's when he won the M5 World Championship MVP, by being explosive.
You know, and before we get into this draft here for game number 1, that's one thing that I would say, if you've been a fan of Smart Omega for a while and you've been part of the Barangay, setting that tempo is always really, you know, they've been known for having specific timers from season to season to season. Well, what is that tempo? What is that time for them starting here for S15? That's what we're about to find out. Going through the first bands, though, nothing too crazy. The Matilda is going to be taken out here. Phoveus, Harith, and there it is. Luyi, Fanny, and of course the Jushin. This leaves open some prominent first picks that we've seen before. Do they actually prioritize a Granger here, or what are we thinking they go for first priority?
I'm looking for the jungles. Oh, yes.
Joy.
So it's going to be the Joy for Andoryu. So that leaves Falcons able to pick up the Suyo for later. Because for now, I'm looking at the Granger, which you've previously mentioned, for Bulletproof Marco. And possibly another power pick in the XP lane. But they took out the Phoveus. So at this point, if they still want to be flexible, though, there's the... I'd say it's too early for the CC2. So probably a Mage, since they've been so focused on taking out some of Okir's heroes. Which reminds me, one of Okir's heroes signature heroes used to be the Faramis, right? But oh, they pick up the Suyo immediately and the Granger.
Okay. I mean, it's safe. You know, the Suyo, they just want to go ahead and pick it up. It's a classic matchup, too, that we often see on the Joy and the Suyo. And then, of course, Granger is just a safe bet.
Does Coach Trevor know something from Smart Omega off season? Here's just me. I'm just thinking. Might be a little crazy here, but what if there is a pocket mid Joy?
Pocket mid Joy?
But
that they're afraid of. Yeah.
And they immediately show the Selena, too. So...
Never mind. That already ends.
I was trying to consider of whether or not Chaknu would be using the Selena, but knowing Smart Omega and based on the first 3 picks which they showed us, it seems like they've revealed a lot of the damage sources from their lineup already. So for Falcons, would they want to pick up their mid laner here too for Few, or just leave it for later since Few is one of the most flexible heroes as well? So they just go for the Badang. Oh, right. Badang has been quite unnoticed for the first 2 days, actually.
He was picked up a couple times, I think. I mean, the utility of just, what is it, a fist crack?
But not as prioritized as before.
It's not as prioritized, but like just the utility that he brings to team fights is really good.
Edward played one hell of a Badang last night. So.
Yeah.
So now, what would you... I think twice about picking up a mid laner here who just like stands still while using or casting its ultimate.
So no Vexana?
So, yeah, probably. Or even the Farsa Eve. But the range looks really good for Team Falcons here. Like, it complements well with the Granger with the amount of poke.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of possibilities if it's in terms of counter-engage. But that Valentina ban right there, what could Chaknu be planning to use if they're like taking out the Valentina from this point? So, could he be... possibly...
I almost see him just going like maybe a Tig.
Yeah,
or
that's
something like
real.
that. Unless is okay, they go with Hilda ban.
But if it's like Chaknu months before, it was mostly... I think he was mostly using the Cho or the Grok.
Cho, Grok.
There's still Hylos too.
You want to go
for the
deep?
board.
Kufra's still out there.
Wait. Oh, by the way, the collab.
The
collab, yes.
collab.
So we'll be seeing that soon.
The same
He was the same one from last season.
Correct. I was gonna say he came back. He bought tickets again.
He did.
So
He's back here to see the action.
okay.
I think he's part of the Brungai, by the way. I think, right? Is he on the Brungai side?
I think he's on Fal.
He's
Where
part
was
of the
he?
nest. He was part of the nest.
He
Part of
just
the nest.
disappeared.
Last ban here for Smart Omega. It's probably still going to be focusing down on fuse options.
Oh,
Whoa, okay,
wow.
they take out the Jawhead instead.
Yeah, no Selena Jawhead matchup
Yeah.
for us, I guess. Ogwen probably will be using the... Would they want to secure a winning matchup immediately here on the XP or add a little bit of crowd control? AOE, since they might be needing a bit more of that. Also to serve as a front here for both Super Marco and provide the openings for Kyle TZ. There's no Gatot anymore. The Lucas is still there if you want to fight their lineup head on. Oh,
Okay.
they pick up the Farsa even against this lineup.
Yeah, I think in a way it's just, again, you lock in something for few here. It covers ground really well. Even if you, let's say someone gets hit by an arrow, just taking a warning shot with the feathered airstrike is going to be good enough to kind of keep them at bay. But it's also a lot of early damage,
Yeah,
and that's one of the things they have to consider here, especially with a Joy across from them. That's the only thing, though, right, too, is like, and I think that's why the Badang kind of fits into this. You can help, obviously, bring
Yeah.
that utility, but there it is. This is that tankier pick that we were looking for Smart Omega,
Yeah.
too. The Edith is now up.
So they went for the range here for Team Falcons. And
It's a high
Chaknu will be going with the high loss instead. It isn't entirely new to us, but it seems like a very straightforward kind of approach for Smart Omega, given the heroes that they decided to field in this game. So for Ogwen here, he might want to pick, or for Flap TZ actually.
Yeah, we don't
Like-
know.
Oh.
And now we
Okay.
do.
Oh wait, so it is going to be
XP
XP Badang.
That's nice. I mean, it was a flex maybe to see what obviously popped up there too. So they get the Tigreal to go ahead and help round this lineup, and yeah, Badang in the XP lane.
It seems like it'll be a very aggressive early game for both of these teams. It reminds me of how Smart Omega tends to really go for the first blood all the time back in the previous season. But Team Falcons with their lineup, they just seem ready to fight against that.
But Big J isn't as readily quick as Super Marco. So Super Marco definitely needs to take advantage of that, especially with the range.
Yeah. He's got the range that he can work with, but taking a look at the lineups one last time before we jump into game one here, you guys can go ahead and decide, too, which team has the stronger draft here. Is it Smart Omega or is it Falcons leading?
Welcome to Mobile Legends!
Match for day 3, MPL Philippines S15, and the first time that we're going to actually get to see Smart Omega play, and this is the draft they bring to this game 1. And with that, too, again, we know that they can play around with this mobility. Like, anytime you see Joy in the jungle, you're going to be working around with the mobility, and you top off that by having that Hylos there to help kind of slow down the opposing team. But you just have to watch out for the amount of crowd control from Falcons here.
You would really want to be as aggressive as you can, especially as Ukir here. But one common trend we've been seeing in the previous games as well is just how teams up against the Selena just try to make sure that they gain control of the mid lane. Their mid duos tend to be more aggressive, but now that the Tigreal is in Team Falcon's hands, so they kind of probably could play around that a little bit more. It's the hit or miss concept of the Selena that they really have to take into consideration for the early game.
And looking at the emblems here, too, you know, the Flap TZ running with a hybrid as well, you know, just helping them on this Badang. And I know there's a couple different versions of Badang, XP lane, and even that roam version. So, hold on. Whoa, Chaknu.
Early revitalize on a Chaknu. Gets hit with a retribution. Slow down. Is there enough damage? Yes, there is. Kyle TZ draws first blood.
That Abyssal Trap didn't even hit. That was some sort of way, but this is what we're expecting from Team Falcons. Once you deny that snowball, that early threat of those quick rotations coming from Smart Omega, which we aren't really seeing right now since it seems like Ukir is trapped here in his lane. It's one of the biggest threats you could have as a Selena. Like, if you're not able to rotate and be a huge threat using those random Abyssal arrows from different angles.
Okay, Lewis comes down to the mid, gets that level 4. They're going to go ahead and start up this fight for the first turtle Falcons will get in position 2. They've got what they need.
Looking like they're taking it slow as Few catches an arrow. That's a man down for Team Falcons, but Kyle Teasy finesses a retribution. The implosion by Ogwin, and Doryu bites it. Ogwin gets a kill. Big knock-up. Lewis barely standing, gets hit with a fist crack and a fist break. And now Chapman the only one left. The surge and the finishing touch, the flourish by Kyle.
Ukir's left alone here. Will he still go for those 3 members?
Ogwin knocking them out, serving up a triple to Kyle Teasy.
I'm not sure, you know, if that, the concept, the idea there from Ukir was like, I want to get 1, but unfortunately ends up giving another kill over to Kyle Teasy. Talk about it early game power spike already for Asuyo, 4-0-1. Oh.
Yeah, and everyone there were grouped together. So even when that single Abyssal Arrow connected onto a great target, speaking of another target, that's Few.
Whoa.
Purify already spent up, serving up a kill. Ukir goes, Chaknu, Glorious Pathway defensively used. That is a 1-for-1.
Oh, 2 immediate Hunter strikes picked up for Super Marco and Kyle Teasy. We haven't even paid much attention to the gold lane, but given all the action that was happening towards the opposite side of the map, it seems like Super Marco was able to gain a really good control of his own lane. He's ahead by almost 1,000 up against Jome. This is not looking so good, but at the same time, something we'd probably expect from Smart Omega in the early game.
I mean, that's, you know, I know you like to play Suyo, Leo. That's every jungler's golden dream, if you will, because it's golden month, right? You get 5-0 right now on a Suyo. You got the Hunter strike this early.
I did this earlier today.
You did. I was there.
It feels great.
I was there.
It feels great. Oh, Flap Easy catches 1. Serving up a kill for Few. Nice pick off for Falcons as Omega is left reeling. Again, Falcons drafted a lineup that goes online much earlier. I didn't expect it to happen on the other side of the map.
It's funny because Brigida mentioned this before into the game. Like, both lineups look like they want to start aggressively, and it was just Falcons that started the flight earlier in this game 1. Garnering nearly a 4,000 gold lead at 4.5 minutes in. This turtle should be theirs, but it looks like Smart Omega actually wants to contest it.
Glorious Pathway by Chaknu. Deterring any retreat from Falcons. Turtle falls. Kyle Teasy gets an extra shield. Slays it. 100% 2 for 2 so far. Feather strike by Few. Look at the back line on Doryu trying to find idle among kids as Chaknu tries to deter any more retreats once more. Flap Teasy gets 1. Lewis served up a kill. And now Super Marco blasting away. Sever from Kyle Teasy. Now the Primal Wrath and Super Marco slays the wild Centaur man as they walk away with more kills still on the board. 4,000 gold ahead.
That team fight was long enough for Super Marco to make it.
Yeah.
And he was able to get that kill, which could just probably add up to the way he's currently leading in terms of gold. He's the highest earning man in this game so far, and that isn't looking so good. If he gets the Sky Piercer immediately at this point of the game, then the range will be a huge threat here for Smart Omega.
Asking you shall receive.
Asking you shall receive. He's already got it locked in, so, you know, that's why he wants to be joining these fights when he can. But I was also impressed with the fact that even despite that deficit before that turtle started up, that Smart Omega was actually able to go ahead and duke it out for that fight and last that long. You know, the only downside, and I know the Salinas have been popping up a lot now, and it's like you throw out the arrows, if they don't land, it's unfortunate because, you know, you kind of have to wait for the next cooldown to be up before you can actually do much in a team fight kind of objective there. Oh, Gwen not going to land that.
Okay. Well, I mean, the lineup here for Smart Omega, the concept of like having Chaknu constantly gather information or constantly be in the faces of Falcons actually increases the chances of those Abyssal Arrows connecting, right? And actually finding ways to start the team fights for Smart Omega. But as we've previously mentioned, it isn't like they actually spot out members from Falcons alone. It's always that they're grouped together or paired up, similar to what we're seeing across the map right now. And even when they decide to go in, it doesn't feel like their damage is enough. The fights always get split up, and even when they go for their targets, it just doesn't work!
Chom gets taken out off camera as Kyle Teasy and Few, alongside Ogwin, dodge a quick pincer attack. Super Marco retaliates. Lewis taken down. Chapman down to half health, backs off. That was a gank that I think Omega wanted to take for themselves, but Falcons instead finds them in a trap.
They went that position for the sandwich play, and then it just kind of backfired on them. Again, you have to take in consideration just how far ahead, you know, items and gold-wise Falcons are. So even though that might have worked in their favor, ultimately it just backfires.
Yeah, and it's very unfortunate that it was Jome which fell first for Smart Omega.
Looks like they're ready for a fight. Flicker Implosion coming in from the Master. The answer, the Feather Air Strike. Glorious Pathway set in by Chaknu. Marco shut down by Andoryu, though too much of the electrical beats. And Chome gets taken out by the ultimate combo of the Filipino Cannon. 2-for-1 the trade.
How do you dance around the members of Falcons Esports if you were Jome? You would want to go with your heavy crossbow, just run around and damage their members, but you'd have to take into consideration the burst coming in from Few at this point, that well-reserved and timed implosion plays from Ogwen, and the disruption from Flapteezy. It works so well for Falcons Esports now that they're able to group up so early.
That's why I like but you know, and I've been a fan of Badang before he started fitting in this meta, but you're going to take a look here at the replay, and great implosion here too, but watch Flap. Like, this usage of the Badang stops that tempo. It breaks the tempo that Smart Omega was trying to build, and that's why Badang fits so well in this current meta, because he's able to do that, and that's the utility that he brings. I mean, obviously, even when you build him like this, right, he's pretty much tanky, but it's mainly for those abilities to go ahead and get the fist crack in, get the ultimate down, and everything else. So very great usage of the utility this hero brings to these team fights.
Oh my God, look at this. No regard for self-preservation. Kyle Teasy goes straight for the BOD. He doesn't care. Nope, I don't want Winter Crown. I just want to kill.
Yeah, it's actually just Flap, which is kind of tanky right
Whoa.
now.
Whoa. They get one in, plus the snipe from Super Marco from downtown. Chaknu falls.
That was just well lined up right there, you know?
Yeah.
And it keeps happening. Andorra, I'm not sure, again, if you want to really be in two kind of risky positions, but maybe if you're Smart Omega, this is just kind of what it results to, Brig.
Yeah, you can't just go in if you were Smart Omega, even if you were Andoryu. Few also has the Blood Wings already, so he will probably have higher chances of being able to escape or even use the Wings by Wings to get away from all those attempts from Andoryu. And if it weren't Andoryu, earlier we've seen this scenario where Jome actually tried to just dish out the damage, but aside from the fact that it still wasn't enough, the fist crack, the fist break, they were all reserved from him. So amidst all the chaos, Flap was just able to make sure that Jome was someone they were able to pin down. So things aren't becoming that easy for Smart Omega, especially as now first objective went into the hand of Falcons, and it doesn't seem like they'll be letting any outer Earth stay after this.
Yeah, this is tough too, because if you're looking at the lineup for Smart Omega, like, you need quite a bit of time for them to actually get online, especially for this Irithyll. You know, again, Ukir is only really able to land off the shots, but then you can't really follow up even if you get an Abyssal Arrow off just because of how far behind you are. So these turrets are going to be made quick work of while they wait for that Lord to approach from the bottom side, but they're just going to go in.
They pop the Holy Shield, ushering in one small siege minion. And top lane as well, we'll see a crash on the wave. Smart Omega doing their darndest to quell Falcon's push.
Yep, Andoryu just will really try to minimize the amount of waves that will be coming in, but we can't deny the fact there's a concealed play as well from Master Ogwen. They could threaten away Smart Omega. I cannot see the tempo setting come in from Smart Omega.
Few pulls out the Feathered Air Strike, pushing in bottom lane inhibitor. That's just the top lane left for Smart Omega, and they're doing their best. They are holding on. They can't even leave their base.
They can't leave the base. 11 minutes in. 12,000 ahead. Just a very one-sided game one here for Falcon so far, with the Barangay just kind of trying to figure out what can we do. They've resulted in throwing Andoryu all over the map, trying to cut waves, steal, but his team.
Andoryu, they need you! The flicker and the onward from Lewis might not work out. Okir falls first. Lewis follows up next. Chaknu down as well. It's a double for Kyle, and that leaves two to defend.
There's Andoryu.
You want to buy time, but how could you in this kind of situation where Falcons just keeps going for it?
Charge Surge, finding Andoryu, forcing him to back off, retreat into his own side of the jungle. Oh, he's playing possum. He's just having Falcons chase him down. Kyle and Andoryu.
Cat and mouse.
All right.
They're up top.
Hiding in one, surges into one brush, feints the recall. Kyle Teasy severs the heal. Andoryu running around. Tom and Jerry. Trying
to catch him here. The rest of the team, they're happy with that. They got all the turrets.
In comes Few. Wings by wings. They know that they're in the Y brush. And the stun And the takedown! All the oats thrown to take down the Nightmare.
What perfect timing. Andoryu won't be there for the Lord. Not that they could be confident enough to contest it either way, but that just minimizes their chances of making other plays, which could like bring up their goal, because that's what they need. That's what they need right now. They're clearly at a disadvantage, and it feels like a very passive situation or gameplay from Smart Omega.
This is one of those situations where you just, I don't know, even for me, it's like, man, we gotta move on to the next. You saw the damage, right? I mean, even Okir and Jome were behind Flap. And I know, you know, Flap, for the most part, playing this Badang, he's been able to just set things up with that fist crack. Thing they had to on the first Lord, getting all the turrets down. So base is exposed, and now you're facing probably one of the biggest leads this weekend. Deficits that Smart Omega has to deal with as this Lord marches in.
I mean, if they get to go for the bounty onto Kyle TZ, that'll be a lot too, but how could you just go for him? Everything is being set up perfectly for the damage dealers of Falcons. And now that we're just waiting for the Lord, I don't see any play that Omega could do at this point. Not unless Luis decides to go in with a flicker, but they started themselves.
Slapped easy, compromising Andoryu. The Glorious Pathway coming in, and they're vitalized from Chaknu. The Lord, the implosion, the feathered airstrike, all but the kitchen sink thrown at Smart Omega. Luis and Chaknu fall. Andoryu trying his darndest. Double kill for Super Marco. Down goes Jome. Ukir, the only one left. And that'll be it. Game 1 goes to Falcons.
A dominant game 1 for Falcons as they fly high already. A massive, massive lead that the Barangay could do nothing about.
That last